All right. So how many of y'all, I know you've had acupuncture, and how many of y'all have actually had acupuncture? So quite a few. Okay. And what was your experience? It helped you,
Well,
Doug?
I had heart surgery, and my wife's acupuncture said, let me give him a treatment before he goes in for surgery to relax him.
Yeah.
I was so relaxed I didn't want to drive home.
Okay. Hey, that's a good thing.
But then I had a few afterwards, and they weren't quite as impressive, but it sure was impressive the first time.
Okay, good. Oh, we got some handouts finally. Good. Anybody else? Yes.
It was, I have to admit, it was uncomfortable for me.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm very sensitive, especially in my feet.
Yeah.
And all I could think about was all these needles sticking in me.
Yeah.
So I left not in the best shape.
Okay. I'm going to talk about, so with the acupuncture profession, there's many ways, there's many techniques, and I'm going to talk about how we do things in our clinic and why we get the results that we get, because we get phenomenal results with neuropathy. But Bill, you had acupuncture before. How was it?
I had broken a bone in my hand.
Yeah.
And I had acupuncture with electricity.
Uh-huh.
And it seemed to stimulate the nerves
Okay.
and the muscles so that when I was in the cast,
Yeah.
I didn't, atrophy as much.
Oh, nice.
And I healed faster.
Good.
So
Very good.
positive.
Nice. Val.
I had acupuncture for Bell's palsy,
Okay.
which included electrical stimulation,
Mm-hmm.
and also for digestive problems,
Okay.
which helped tremendously.
Good. Very good. Very good.
It's positive.
Nice. And someone else had acupuncture? No? Everybody else? Okay. Okay, so good. So I'm going to talk about, how we do acupuncture, how it works, okay? Because the ones that have had acupuncture, do you know what acupuncture is actually doing to your body? How is it helping you?
Stimulating the blood flow.
Yes. Actually, Val, yeah. Very good, very good. And I'll go into more detail about that.
Isn't it the yin and yang energy? You're trying to achieve a balance? And
Yes.
increase the flow and reduce blockage in the energy flow?
Yes. And so, not to get off topic, but Chinese medicine was kind of mistranslated, okay? Actually, acupuncture in Chinese medicine is a physical medicine. Like, as hard as this table, it is a physical medicine. It is about moving blood circulation. But I'll go in a little more detail after that. Today we're talking about, okay, can your neuropathy be reversed naturally, okay? And so many of y'all may have, some of y'all have had it for 10 years, 2 years, and probably some 20 years. We've seen patients that just the span, just got diagnosed a month ago to been diagnosed 20 years ago, okay? And so I know what you're going through. A lot of times you've tried this, you go to the neurologist, which you should. If you haven't gotten diagnosed, you should go to your neurologist. Your neurologist is a person who's going to help you diagnose the type of neuropathy, okay? Now, and so you may have tried all these different things. You've tried acupuncture, you've tried medications, you've tried physical therapy, and some of it helps and some of it doesn't, and a lot of times it can get pretty frustrating, right? And so, especially if you're not getting the results that you want, especially if it's affecting your balance, if it's affecting your ability to walk, because if you can't feel your feet, how can your brain, process the information where you're going, right? And so, the patients that we've treated before, they've experienced all of these different things. And what I'm here today is to let you know that there is hope. There is a possibility. Now, can it help everybody? No, it can't, okay? But for a lot of people, it can. It can definitely help improve your quality of life, because that's what's the number one thing neuropathy affects, right? Is your quality of life. You can't, like I have a neuropathy patient, he wants to play golf, but he can't climb up the hill to get to the hole. Get to the I don't play golf. So the tee, yes, thank you. And so he needs people to help carry him up there. Once he's up there, he can stand, he's okay, but he just can't get up to that tee. And so that's affecting that's what he enjoys doing. And so, after treatments, now he's able to get up to that tee by himself. So the point is, if whether you've tried acupuncture or not, and I'm going to give you a different approach on how to use acupuncture, okay? So I'm going to go over 3 secrets to help your peripheral neuropathy, all right? So why, Nancy kind of introduced me, but why should you listen to the information that I'm talking about today, right? This is the first time many of y'all, besides Cindy, I've met you once, that y'all have probably met me before. Well, I'm one of the #1 go-to acupuncturists for Austin's top neurologists. So I work with a lot of the neurologists here. Some of y'all, if y'all come to these meetings, you probably have heard Dr. Horvath, a neurologist.
I don't think Dr. Horvath has spoken to this.
Oh, he hasn't spoken to this group? Oh, okay. So he's also part of the medical advisory committee, and he's done some talks. Anybody go to Scott and White? No? So I work with some the top neurologists in Scott and White also. And the reason why they work together with me is because, bottom line, our clinic produces results. My clinic is also the rotation clinic for physicians and physician assistants. So when physicians go through medical school, they have to go through rotation, right? They have to learn all different specialties, and some of them choose to learn acupuncture. And my clinic is one of those facilities that they come and learn acupuncture from me. And I also have physician assistants that do the same thing, okay? And the most important thing, results and transparency, okay? I am very upfront. There is a way that I will know if acupuncture can help you or not, definitively, okay? It's not a wishy-washy. I will know for sure if it can help you or not, and I will let you know if it can't, okay? And I'll tell you how I do that. All right, so I pulled this definition from our old website, which it used to be I don't know if it's still handsfeet.org, or is it Neuropathy Alliance? It changed, okay.
We still own it, so if somebody goes there, it'll get redirected.
Okay, so this is from our website. So the definition of neuropathy is a disorder of the peripheral nervous system, the vehicle that allows communication from the brain and spinal cord to the rest of the body. So there's a reason why I underline communication. The cause of neuropathy is miscommunication or lack of communication, because your brain and your feet, or the nerves in your feet or your arms or your legs, okay, there's a miscommunication. Because did you know there is a nerve connected from your brain to every cell in your body? Did y'all know that? So if you have a disconnect, okay, so just imagine a wire, and let's just imagine that wire is fraying. There's a short circuit, right? So the brain is not able to send a message to the feet. Vice versa, the feet is not able to send a message to the brain. And therefore, you can't comprehend where you're walking, where your feet are. And that's why you'll have some imbalances, okay? Let's talk about, if you have a spouse, if y'all don't communicate with each other for a month, what happens? Chaos, right? And let's say I was to do this presentation outside in the hallway. Would y'all be able to comprehend and understand what I'm saying? No, right? So it's communication. Communication is key, whether it's for your neuropathy or whether it's for your relationship. And this is the key that you have to focus on if you want relief or you want reversal of your neuropathy, okay? So Western medicine causes, I'm not going to go into too much detail, because when they have neurologists come here, they will go into more detail on the causes from the Western medicine perspective. But you have inherited, which is like errors in the genetic code, hereditary diseases, new genetic mutations. Acquired could be trauma. Like some of y'all have, and we've seen this, people who have back surgery, back injury, okay? That can cause neuropathy. Even neck surgery can cause your feet neuropathy, okay? Metabolic, anybody have diabetic? I don't think anybody had diabetic neuropathy, right? No. So diabetes used to be one of the main ones, okay? Right now, the most common one is idiopathic, which means they have no idea what it is, what's causing it, right? And autoimmune, okay? And toxic poisoning, like chemo. So we see a lot of those also. People who go through chemo and radiation, the #1 side effect is neuropathy, all right? Actually, this lady, so going through cancer is not fun. Fighting cancer is not fun. I don't know if any of y'all have fought through cancer, okay? It's very debilitating, not just for the patient themselves, but also for the family members. It's very stressful. This patient, she had cancer, so she went through chemo and radiation. Thankfully, one of her friends referred her to my clinic, and we started treatments ASAP, along with the chemo and the radiation, while she was getting it, okay? Because of that, after she was done with her chemo and radiation and killed all the cancer, we were able to reverse 99% of her neuropathy. But it was only because she did it early. So the key point is, with neuropathy, you have to start early. It's about regenerating your nerves, okay? So secret number 1, the common link in all peripheral neuropathies, regardless of cause, is a lack of the number 1 nutrient in your body. What is the number 1 nutrient in your body? Yes.
I'm reading it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cheating. Okay. It's oxygen, okay? Can you survive without oxygen? No. Every cell in your body needs oxygen. Without oxygen, you're not going to survive, right? And so, went back. So what happens to nerves when you deprive them of oxygen? If someone deprives you of food, what's going to happen to you? You're going to lose weight, yes? Yes. I don't recommend that way to lose weight, okay? But you're going to start shriveling up, right? Why would it be anything different for your nerves? Let's take a look at. So these are 2 nerves. So nerves communicate, okay, there's a synapse. They don't actually touch each other. So there's the area called a synaptic junction. They release chemicals, and that's how nerves communicate with each other. The top illustration is a healthy nerve. The bottom illustration is nerves deprived of oxygen. So remember, your body shrivels up, so your nerves are going to do the same thing. If your nerves shrivel up, the distance between the communication becomes apart. It's like my analogy of me going outside and doing the presentation, right? You don't have effective communication. That's what's happening when you have neuropathy, okay? Stop me. Oh, sorry.
Well, I would have thought,
yes.
if you're lacking oxygen, I think that would be from oxygen would come through blood supply, wouldn't it?
We're getting to that. You're jumping ahead. So what causes oxygen deprivation? Doug, that's what you're talking about. The cause, yes. The causes, the Western medicine causes all of these: trauma, metabolic, autoimmune, chemotherapy, toxic, medication-induced neuropathy. All of that can cause oxygen deprivation. But the common link is what, Doug, you were saying, inflammation, which is lack of blood circulation. Do y'all know what inflammation is? You know what it actually is? I call it retention of waste. Yeah. Just think about it. If you don't go to the restroom for 1 month, how are you going to feel? Pretty crappy, right? Literally, right? Because what? Toxins is retaining in your body. So every cellular reaction goes through the same thing. Your cells need to eat, and your cells need to eliminate. If you don't eliminate, you retain. You retain waste, and that's what inflammation is. It's retention of waste, okay? I'm trying to simplify things. This may seem very simple, and actually, a lot of times it is very simple, okay? But to understand neuropathy, it's actually pretty simple, okay? So inflammation. So everybody, repeat after me. Decreased blood flow. Starved cells. Shortens life. Inflammation. That's what inflammation does. Inflammation prevents nutrition to go to your nerve cells. If you have inflammation in the nerves in your feet, they're not going to heal. Bottom line. So you have to decrease inflammation off the nerve. We all know in neuropathy there's nerve damage. Correct? Right? So in order for your nerves to re-heal, you need to do 2 things. You need to remove what is interfering. What is interfering from the nerve from healing? That's inflammation. Now, the inflammation could be caused by other things. It could be caused by your back surgery. It could be caused by chemotherapy. It could be caused by some type of medication you're taking. Okay? It could be caused by a lack of exercise. That's why when Nancy was talking about the Tai Chi is one of the best exercises you can do. Okay? And I'll talk a little bit more about why it's so important. But you have to decrease the inflammation. If you don't decrease the inflammation, nothing's going to work. Okay? So how do we decrease the inflammation and send more oxygen to a specific body? I kind of gave you the answer already. But how do you decrease inflammation?
eliminating the toxic waste?
Yes, you eliminate what's interfering, what is causing the inflammation in the first place. Sometimes that could be something natural like food. Food can cause inflammation. Did y'all know that? So if you're not on the right diet, that's why when we have nutrition classes here, you should attend those. Because nutrition can cause inflammation also. Okay? One of the best ways is, kind of like Doug was saying, how is oxygen transported? Doug? Through the blood, right? So, very simple. The treatment strategy is simple. If you want to increase oxygen to your nerves, what do you need to do?
Exercise for one thing.
Yes, you need to move blood to your feet, to the nerves that are damaged. That simple. Okay? Now, it sounds simple, but yes, it's a lot harder than what I'm making it. But I'm just trying to tell you that the treatment concept, the treatment strategy is simple. Anything you can do to move blood to the damaged nerves is going to help your neuropathy. That's it, right? Make sense? All right, class dismissed. That was it? Yeah. Okay, so part of in our clinic, what we do is something called infrared thermography. Has anybody had thermography before? No. Does anybody know what thermography is? Yeah, so thermography is basically, it's a camera, a very specialized camera to detect infrared heat that's emitted from your body. We are like fire creatures, right? We emit heat that we can't see. And so we use that special camera to detect. So this was a patient, an 80-year-old male, lung cancer, okay, came to us. This was before. The color gradient, black, is called extreme cold. And then it gets pink, purple, and then blue, and then goes up to red, which is hot. Okay? So when it's black, if your feet are cold, what does that mean? There's no blood flow. Yes, there's no blood flow at all. Okay? Potentially, if we don't improve this, not only is his nerves dying off, but his toes could start dying off too. So this was in June, and this was in August. Can y'all see that? I don't know if it's in the way. Can you see how the purple and pinkish are starting to fade, go downwards towards feet? It's because the improved circulation. Okay? By that time, he was already feeling a lot better. His neuropathy actually had just gone all the way down to below his knees, and that was it. It was in his whole body in the beginning. So in just 2 months, we were able to reverse a lot of it in the right direction. Now, it's actually just barely in bilateral in his both feet. It wasn't just as simple as acupuncture. We modified his diet. Okay? I put him on an exercise routine. It's a combination. With neuropathy, it's never just one treatment. There is no magic bullet. There is no one treatment that can reverse everything. You need a combination of a lot of treatments, different types of treatments, okay? All right, so the Western medicine treatments are medications, right? Pain relievers, anti-seizure medications, antidepressants, injections, immunosuppressive drugs. For those of you, I don't know if any of y'all I don't think any of y'all said y'all feel a lot of pain in your feet. Does anybody have a lot of pain in their feet from the neuropathy? No? Okay, good, good. If you do, there is a medical treatment where they do injections with Marcaine. Anybody heard of that? No? So this is a treatment. It's a temporary treatment, but it actually helps decrease some of the inflammation off the nerves. Okay? So these are the common ones that Western medicine has. And of course, there's physical therapy, exercise, and then TENS unit, like you were talking about. Okay? Let's talk about that TENS. So technology has improved, has evolved. So a TENS unit, how many people use TENS? Do y'all know what a TENS unit is? Yes? A TENS unit is an electrical stimulation. It's trying to mimic, so you know that we're all electrical beings, right? We function by generating electricity in our body. A TENS unit is trying to mimic that electrical signal. However, it doesn't. TENS units are very good for pain suppression. So our nerves, let's say, conduct messages on this wavelength right here. A TENS unit is operating at a wavelength up here. So what it does is it suppresses this, our nerve signal, okay? That's why it is so effective for pain. Now, if you want to do it to reverse neuropathy, it doesn't. It's not helping. I mean, it'll help with the pain, but it's not going to help regenerate the nerve. However, there is new technology out there used by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Have y'all heard of that hospital? It's a very well-known hospital. They use a new machine. It's called a rebuilder, okay? This rebuilder is specifically designed. Remember, our nerves conduct electricity right here. They designed a TENS-like unit to communicate at the same wavelength as your nerves. If you use that machine, that can re-educate your nerves. What I mean by re-educate your nerves, it can reestablish the connection between your brain and the nerves in your feet, or wherever your nerve is damaged. Okay? Now, answer your question about how often you can use it. Well, I typically recommend no more than twice a day, because you can overstimulate. It's kind of the same thing like, if you're working out, can you overwork out? You can, right? Same thing with your nerves. You can overtrain your nerves and actually do the opposite. So I recommend using that machine at just twice per day. Okay? Not at a very, that machine, you barely even feel anything. A TENS unit, you feel the vibrations and you feel the pulsating pretty strong. This machine, you barely feel anything. Okay?
Twice per day, how long?
30 minutes each
30
day.
minutes?
Yes, 30 minutes, I mean each day. 30 minutes each time. Yeah.
Who's a good candidate for something like that?
I'm sorry?
Who would be what would determine if you would be a candidate to use such a device?
If you have nerve problem, you can use it.
At
Any,
point?
it doesn't,
Okay.
you don't even have to have neuropathy.
Okay,
If you have a nerve problem,
okay,
because that machine is to re-educate your brain to connect the connection between your brain and whatever the nerve problem is.
okay, so it could have been for an extended period of time?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That was-
And that's one of the things that you can do at home, okay? That doesn't require someone else. There's another thing. Do any of y'all use light therapy? Light, infrared light? No? No one's ever heard of it? So, yes?
I've heard of it for blood,
Yes.
taking blood out, using it. Yeah.
Yes. NASA was the one that discovered it. NASA discovered technology, infrared light therapy. Okay? So infrared light basically increases the blood circulation. For neuropathy, there's many devices. You can get devices that are like a little boot that you can put on your feet. Okay? And it shoots infrared light therapy into your legs. What it causes is, they used to use it, NASA discovered it because they used it for astronauts to help tissue repair. Because when they're in space, they need some ways to regenerate their tissue if they ever got, some tissue damage. And so NASA started using it. But it's actually very good for neuropathy people because it can help increase the blood circulation. Because what happens when we increase the blood circulation? More oxygen goes to your legs, right? Yes?
This is very interesting because there was a doctor in Houston, Kazim Sheikh, and he published a paper at Johns Hopkins showing that erythropoietin, which is the hormone to increase red blood cells, actually help nerve regeneration because you're carrying more
Oxygen too?
oxygen.
Yes. That's why I said the solution is very simple. I mean, the way to do it, there's so many different ways and it gets more complex. But the bottom end result is you need to get more oxygen to the nerves.
What do you think about hyperbaric oxygen?
That works too.
And ozone therapy?
Yes. Anything that can increase oxygen to the damaged nerves, because that is the #1 nutrient every cell in your body needs. Yes?
What about E-stem?
E-stem was the TENS unit.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yes.
I have the patches. And
Yeah.
that's
So
the same thing. Okay.
that's the same thing as a TENS unit, but it's not the same thing that I was talking about with the rebuilder that the Cancer Treatment Centers of America is using. Those are two different things. Okay? The E-stem and the TENS unit, they suppress your nerve signal, which will help for pain. If you have numbness and tingling, it doesn't really help too much, unless your cause is somewhere else. Okay, like if your neuropathy is because you had a back surgery or back problem, a spinal problem, the TENS unit will help, because the cause is that. And so, there's a reason why I have a rubber band on my finger. Okay? So if I tighten this rubber band, and you can probably already see, what's happening to my finger? It's getting red, right? And then what am I going to feel? Yes, pain, right? Pain initially. But if I keep this on for an hour, what's going to happen to my finger? It's going to start turning white. I'm going to start feeling numbness, tingling, pins and needles. Does that sound familiar? That's what's happening with your nerves. So if you want to reverse your neuropathy, you need to figure out what's the cause. What is the cause of this? The rubber band. Something is literally blocking the blood circulation to my finger. Can y'all see that? It's actually turning really red. It's actually hurting too. Okay, so you have to, with neuropathy, if you can find the source, you have to focus on finding the source of what is causing the oxygen deprivation. Because if you don't, you won't be able to reverse it, and you won't be able to slow it down. Because does neuropathy get worse or better over time? Worse. It doesn't get better. You may not feel the symptoms get worse initially, but their nerves are dying off because the rubber band is still on there. Until you remove that rubber band, you're not going to reverse your nerve damage. And unfortunately, will medication remove my rubber band? It won't. And I'm not saying medications are not good for you temporarily, because there are situations you do need it, okay? But you need to find the source. That's my point. All of these treatments, they provide temporary relief. They don't retrain your brain. So the solution to reversing your neuropathy is you have to find ways to retrain your brain and get more oxygen to the nerves. Am I saying that enough? Okay. Yes.
A friend of mine sent me an article on Ewt Exercise with oxygen therapy.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience with that? Or
That I don't. But if
kind of ride a bike and breathe oxygen.
It's almost like you going to Colorado, like athletes that go to a higher elevation to get more red blood cells so they can carry more oxygen.
Yeah.
Same concept. If you can get more oxygen delivered to the nerves, you will have relief. Okay? So this is another patient. She came to me. She, probably similar to many of y'all, went through all of the medical treatments, wasn't getting any results, and her leg was completely going numb. And so just after, I think, 2 or 3 months of treatments, all of it was gone. So the question I want you to ask yourself is, do you want a treatment that you'll be dependent on for the rest of your life, or do you want a treatment that could potentially retrain your brain to heal itself? Okay? And I commend y'all for being here because y'all are looking for alternative solutions. And I'm letting you know there is. Okay? So the best method to retrain your brain is... surprise! It's what I do. So I do acupuncture, right? So many of y'all have had acupuncture, and maybe it worked and maybe it didn't. Okay? So how does acupuncture actually work? We talked about it moves your blood. Actually, that is the answer. Acupuncture can move your blood circulation. It's very simple. It was mistranslated about energy. Really, acupuncture has nothing to do with energy. It's about blood and oxygen. If we can move your blood, we can move your oxygen. That's what acupuncture does. Let me give you an example. Let's see, yes. So if you were to touch like your candle or a hot stove, what are you going to do? You're going to burn? Yes. You're going to burn if you don't remove your hand, yeah. So hopefully you will remove your hand. So what's happening in just that one scenario? The heat from the flame sends a signal to your finger, it goes up your arm to your brain. Your brain processes the information, it's too hot. Then your brain sends a message down to your arms, to the muscles, and it contracts. How fast did that happen? Seconds. Less than a second, right? Less than a nanosecond. That's what acupuncture does. Acupuncture is kind of like the flame. It's a signal. We send a signal to your brain to tell your brain, hey, you need to open up the blood vessels at a specific part of your body. More blood flow, more oxygen. Okay? So an acupuncturist can move your blood flow anywhere we want. That's what acupuncture does, plain and simple, right? So one of the things that we do different from majority of acupuncturists is when you're having neuropathy problems, we don't stick a needle at the site of the problem. Do you know why? You experienced it made it a little worse, right? There's a 50% chance it will make it worse if you stick a needle at the site of the problem. Why is that? The nerve is already inflamed, and you stick something foreign into it. Are you going to inflame it even more or make it better? You're going to temporarily inflame it even more. That's why you'll feel worse afterwards. That's why we do not insert a needle at the site of the problem. But thankfully, your body's all connected, right? Hopefully. Okay. So you can elicit a response. I could put a needle somewhere else and elicit a response from your brain to your feet. For example, I could put it in your hand. I can put it in your hand, and that will cause your brain to open up the blood vessels in your feet. That's how. So 3,000 years ago, they discovered the true nervous system of the body. And so they were very intelligent people back then. We have just kind of been dumbed down as the years go on, maybe technology and so forth, right? So we become less observant, okay? So they discovered the map, the true nervous system map, so that can happen. Everything's connected. I could stick a needle in your elbow, and it can also guide blood into your feet. If you know the map, you can guide blood without sticking a needle actually in the feet. So by reestablishing the communication between the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, that's how acupuncture can improve your blood circulation. Okay, so let's memorize again. Everybody, increase blood flow.
Increase blood flow.
Nourishes nerves. Restores life. Acupuncture. So just because you've had acupuncture and it didn't help your neuropathy, it depends, on the way that it was performed. That makes a huge difference. And let me give you an example. For example, when we treat people who have, let's just say, to make it simplified, pain, just some type of pain, okay? It doesn't matter what type of pain. So 90% of the time when we treat that patient and we put a needle in, 10 seconds after we put that needle in, the pain starts to decrease based on the technique that we use. That doesn't occur with every type of acupuncture treatments. And so that's why I can know for sure if acupuncture is going to help you with your neuropathy or not, okay? Because we elicit quick responses, kind of like the candle thing, right? So does acupuncture work for everyone? No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Why wouldn't it work for some people and it will work for others? Depends on the extent of the nerve damage. If the nerve is completely dead, a lot of times we can't help you. And if you have some structural issue, if it's caused from a spine issue, you have a slip disc that is physically pushing on your nerve and cutting off the oxygen, okay? We can't remove that disc off the nerve. So in that situation, we're not going to be able to help you. We can help you temporarily, but it's not going to be long term. Okay? So how will I know if acupuncture will work for me? So how will you know if the acupuncture works for you? Yes, you feel better. You walk better. Your quality of life improves. That's how you'll know, right? We also, like I said, we do the thermal scans to monitor how your blood circulation is improving. The thermal scan is not used to diagnose you. It's used to monitor, is the blood circulation improving in the area that the nerve is damaged? If it is, actually even before we see the improvement in the thermal scan, the patient already feels improvement in their quality of life already. So how long does it take to acupuncture to retrain the brain to heal the peripheral nerves? Do y'all know how long it takes for a nerve to regenerate? Slow, as y'all probably are experiencing. It's 1 millimeter per day, 1 inch per month, 1 foot per year. And that's only if you're doing something to help it regenerate. Medication is not helping it regenerate, unfortunately. It's helping you with your symptoms, which is good for your quality of life, but it's not helping you regenerate your nerves. It's not. That's why you can have it for 10, 20 years and you still have no nerve regeneration. Unless you do something about the nerves, it's not going to regenerate. So going back to exercise, what can you do? So obviously, y'all can't do acupuncture by yourself, right? Don't go home and stick needles in yourself. Please, please. Disclaimer. But one thing, what can you do at home to re-educate your brain? Exercise, Tai Chi. That's why Tai Chi is so important. We have sensors in every joint in our body, and every time we utilize those joints, it actually sends a signal to your brain. That's how you are re-educating your nervous system. That is the reason why exercise is so important. Not just for pumping your heart. I mean, it does two things. It helps re-educate your brain. It also pumps your heart. Your heart is your only pump for what? Blood and oxygen. Okay? So this was another patient that came to us. When she came to us, it was very scary because she could not feel her feet, especially her right foot. And so she was driving. So a lot of times she didn't know if she was putting on the accelerator or the brakes. Thankfully, she got to my office okay. But that's pretty scary. She couldn't feel, if she was pushing on the accelerator or not. So we did a couple of months of treatments, and now she can drive safely. So y'all are safe. Okay. But it's because we helped regenerate her nerves, we improved the blood circulation, we improved the oxygen delivery. It wasn't just acupuncture, again, combination of diet, nutrition, exercise. You need all of them. There is no just one thing. You have to do all of these in order to regenerate your nerves. Does that make sense? Yes?
And is that combination available through treatments from someone like yourself? Yes. In terms of diet and exercise?
Yes. So we work on that. And we also work with your physician because if you're taking medication, don't just get off your medication, okay? And I don't mess with the medication. That's why I work with all the neurologists. We talk together, we work together to figure out when we can start reducing those medications, if we can reduce them. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have to use a combination of all of those things, acupuncture, nutrition, diet, exercise, and medication to give you the better quality of life, okay? But sometimes we can. Sometimes we can't get you off the medication. And it depends. Every case is different because every cause is different. Does that make sense? All right. A common question is, does insurance cover acupuncture? All right? And so, unfortunately, we're not in the right state for insurance in acupuncture. There are some that cover, okay, but majority do not. Texas is a very conservative state, and it doesn't like acupuncture for some reason. If we were in a different state, hey, it's mandatory. Like if you're in a state in Washington, every insurance is required to cover acupuncture.
What about Medicare?
Medicare does not. Yeah. So should it cover it? Yeah. Right? But it doesn't. So what are the fees involved? Well, before I go through that, anybody have any question?
You talk about acupuncture retraining the brain.
Yes.
Is this something that would be a permanent retrain?
Mm-hmm.
And is it this 1 millimeter per day, 1 inch per month? That's what you figure the measurement is for the retrain of the brain?
That's a great question. Actually, it's one of his questions too. Is it something you got to go for the rest of your life? Right. That's what we're concerned about. In some situations, it's not. And in some situations, it may be. Okay. Let me give you an example. So and is it based on 1 millimeter? So it's based on what you do with the nutrition, the diet, and the exercise. The more you help out, and also it depends on your current health. If your organs are functioning correctly, the faster you're going to heal. So neuropathy is not just, that's a great question, it's not just as simple as just the nerve. Because what helps what helps the healing process in your body? Your organs. Your organs functioning at optimal level helps you maintain your health and regain your health and regenerate your nerves. So if your other organs are not functioning up to par, and let me give you an example, if your digestive system is not absorbing, digesting the food that you're eating, are you getting the nutrition into the blood? You're not. So I can move your blood all I want, and it's not going to help. So in that situation, we not only do we have to bring oxygen to the nerves, we have to fix your gut. We need to make sure you are digesting what you're eating. And even before that, we need to make sure you're eating the right thing to start off with, right? So this is where it gets a little more complex. We are looking at how your body, are your organs functioning correctly, and which ones, if they're not, we need to figure out which ones we need to help and fix first, before your nerves can actually get the nutrition they need to heal. So it does take time, okay? So some people, this is the typical, I would say, focus that we do. In the initial, I would say, a couple of months, we do heavy treatments, not just acupuncture. You know, maybe some nutrition, some supplements, some herbs. We change your diet. We get focused on the organs that are functioning. Once we get things rolling, and your body actually starts learning it, and your brain is retrained, your brain's going to keep it. And then so what we do then is we start backing off the acupuncture. We wean you down off the acupuncture. We wean you off some of the herbs and supplements, okay, and let your body do it by itself and continue to do it. So in that situation, that is the final goal. In that situation, no, it's not something you have to do for the rest of your life. But it depends on the cause. That's the key. We have to find the cause. Why isn't your body healing your nerves by itself? If you find that out and you fix that, guess what? Your body can be retrained, and it will continue to heal by itself without acupuncture. But then there's other situations where it won't. And then you will need to do acupuncture in conjunction with your diet and exercise and so forth. Does that answer your question? Yes? Anybody else have questions? Yes?
Could you say a word about diet? Do you use food sensitivity tests to individualize the diet? What's your approach, basically?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Has anybody had food sensitivity tests? Okay, so there's a lot of controversy in food sensitivity tests and the fact that accuracy, right? I typically don't use it right now because I haven't found a lab that's accurate, and I'm still testing it. And this is the way that I test it, and this is the way that my mentors tested it. So a very common one is called ALCAT, okay? I used to promote ALCAT until my mentor said, oh, he drew 2 vials of blood of himself and sent it to ALCAT. And he got the results, 2 different things. And that's an expensive test if you've had it done. And so he tried other labs, same thing. So there hasn't been a lab that's been consistently, with their results. I recently found one that uses hair analysis in the UK. I'm going to try that one too. I'm going to send 2 of my hair samples and see if they get the same results. But until then, I don't recommend any food sensitivity test because, not that it's not good, the idea is great, but I don't want you wasting your money on something that's, I don't even know if it's really accurate. Does that make sense? But going to the food sensitivity, there are what we call 8 common food sensitivities that everybody should start off eliminating. And there are certain things, like gluten, you should not be eating it, okay? Dairy, tastes great, you shouldn't be eating it, okay? Those are some things. Sugar, you shouldn't be eating that too, okay? All of that will ruin your nerves, guaranteed. Yes?
What about muscle testing?
Muscle testing, I don't have a lot of info on that. I know a lot of people do that. How accurate it is, the practitioner doing it, there's so many variables, I don't know. I can't confidently promote that. Yeah. But the best thing I would suggest y'all do is just eliminate some of the common food sensitivities and then eliminate it for at least a month and then introduce a food back in one at a time and observe how you feel. Because your bodies are great diagnostic machines. They will tell you when something's wrong, when they don't like something, right? You just got to pay attention to it. Like if you're going to the restroom 10 times a day, you know, out the other end, something's wrong, right? Any other questions? Yes?
Do low platelets have any effect on
You said blood platelets?
low platelets?
Uh-huh.
I've been diagnosed with low platelets when I was 45,
Mm-hmm.
30-some odd years ago.
Okay.
I mean, they run between 80 and 100, and the doctors always say, well, I can still do brain surgery on you with that amount, but I guess my concern is that affecting the nerves because there isn't enough platelet action going on there?
It can. Short answer, yes. Have you been tested for a genetic mutation?
No.
There are some genetic mutations and when it comes to clotting. So I would talk to, I don't know if it's your neurologist that would do that, but I would talk to a neurologist first and then maybe go to a hematologist. Yeah, but yes, it can. It can affect it. Anything else? Yes?
Some nutritionists say eliminate animal products for
Mhm.
autoimmune diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's necessary, or is it on an individual basis?
Yes and no, and let me tell you why. Are you familiar with acid and alkaline?
Yeah,
So the more acid you have, the more what?
that's protein is amino acid.
So the more acidic your body is,
Worse.
the more inflammation you will have.
Yeah.
The more inflammation you will have, the less delivery of oxygen you will have. The most acidic food is animal protein.
Yeah.
Now, that's why I said yes and no. But no, I mean, in regards to, you still need animal protein. You need animal protein because what the animal protein, especially the iron, the type of iron that you can get, there's called heme iron and non-heme iron. That heme iron you get from animal protein. Non-heme iron, you get it from vegetables. So there are certain amino acids that you can get. Animal protein, it has a more complete amino acid than vegetables. So you do still need a little animal protein. You cannot go straight vegan or vegetarian.
People recommend supplements if they go vegan, like B12 and...
Yes, and that's a great question. So supplements, you know, in the beginning when people come to our clinic and we do treatments, we give them a lot of herbs and supplements initially. But the final goal is you shouldn't be dependent upon, even though it is a natural thing, you should not be replacing one pill for another, even though it's natural. You should be getting majority of your nutrition through your food, and you can get it from your food. Austin is one of the best places. Did y'all realize we have like so many, like 5, 6 farmers markets? I mean, we are very blessed. I mean, and so we have those resources. We've got Sprouts, we've got natural grocers, okay? Sometimes Whole Foods, but yeah, but we have the nutrition. So I don't ever recommend replacing animal protein with a supplement. Temporarily, when you need that nutrition, yes, but not on a long-term basis. So when people come to us, I tell them the final goal is maybe you're taking 2 or 3 supplements for the rest of your life, but majority of the nutrition you're getting through your diet. Any other questions?
You were talking about insurance and frequency.
Yes.
I guess you say you start out maybe quite frequently, but like,
Yes.
what does that mean? Like twice a day, once a week, once a month?
Yes. So we start off, so frequency, we start off with 2 to 3 times per week.
And then later on, if it goes long term, does it get down as low as what? Once a month?
Yes.
Once a 2 weeks?
If you need that continuous stimulus, it can get down. Our goal is to get down to once a month. Okay? And all of that, it really depends on your condition. Because even though everybody has neuropathy, you don't have the same type, and your bodies are different. Even if you're the same weight, height, doesn't matter. We don't know which organs are malfunctioning. So it's about determining the cause. So the cause, which organs are malfunctioning, so we can fix those to help you deliver more oxygen to your nerves. Make sense?
Another term that kind of confused me a little bit.
Yes.
Is the rejuvenation or regeneration.
Regeneration of the nerve, yes.
Are you actually reviving the existing nerve, or are you growing new nerve?
You're reviving, it's growing actually.
It's new
Yes, it's a new, it's
pathway.
it's growing from the dead nerve, so to speak. Yes. It can be, not everybody. I'm not saying that everybody can have their nerves regenerate. But nerves do, did you know that nerves do, they're supposed to regenerate. Your peripheral nerves, they are supposed to regenerate. You just got to provide it the right environment.
Now, with people like yourself who've got Parkinson, I know that Parkinson is caused by lack of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
That chemical, which is needed to transmit electrical signals.
Yes.
And I assume that's needed in these nerves you're talking about too.
Yes.
But you didn't mention that. That's okay. I just wondered about it.
Well, that's what I say. In your case, that's one of the causes.
Sure.
But for someone else, it may not be. So we have to find out for each individual, what is your cause?
Just one more question.
Yeah, no, please.
What do you think about infections like Lyme disease and some of the co-infections? They're
Yes.
very difficult to diagnose, and they could cause neuropathy. And
Yes.
there's even research that things like Parkinson's
Mhm.
and Alzheimer's are caused by infections in the brain.
Yes. Yeah, so actually I went to a conference talking about Lyme's. I forgot, it's a very famous physician for Lyme's disease. And based on what he said, there is no definitive test to diagnose Lyme disease. They do, I mean, there's some gold standards, but they're not accurate. And it's based off of health history and so forth. And so, yes, he mentioned, yes, it can cause neuropathy. In that situation, you need to do, I don't know if it was doxycycline that they use, a type of antibiotic. But he was talking about, yes, in those situations, you need medication to help with that. Yeah. So the key about, what I try to do today was try to simplify things so that, because there's so many all these diseases, right? And so when you start focusing on like the name of the disease and all of these, sometimes you get lost, you lose track of what's the focus on the treatment. The treatment doesn't matter, the treatment focus does not matter what cause of neuropathy you have. The treatment focus is what? Blood flow, increase oxygen. No matter what you do, those are the two things you need to worry about. Because it doesn't matter what problem you have, you need those two things to happen. Did that make sense? Yes? Okay, so last, anybody else have any other questions? Good questions, great questions. So last, for some of y'all may be wondering, okay, what's the next step? If you want to come to my clinic, you want to see if acupuncture can be definitive or not, I forgot to tell you how I find that out. So when people come to me, we do an exam, we do a thermal scan. Also, we test their body. We test their body with 3 to 6 acupuncture treatments. And by the sixth treatment, you should feel relief. You should.
Is that once a week for 6 weeks? Or?
3 times a week for the first 2 weeks. By the 6th treatment, you will feel relief. If you don't, acupuncture is not going to work. And that's just based on my experience of producing fast results. Okay, so if you're interested, you're going to talk to Amara. She's got a little gift because my fee is for the initial exam is $287. She's got a little gift for you that will knock $200 off of that. But talk to her after this. Any more other questions? Did y'all learn something new today? Yes? Okay. Well, thank you.